Hello everybody, my name is Broxton. I am the IT support specialist with CaseGuard Studio. Today we'll be doing a quick video on how to redact body-worn camera footage for maybe a police agency or anyone that deals with body-worn camera footage. So to begin, when you first open up your CaseGuard, you'll be greeted with this welcome window. From here you can create a new project, open an old project, perform bulk redaction, record your screen, access our documentation on the website, and also access any training courses. And here your new projects, your recent projects will appear here where you can access them easily. To begin, we'll create a new project. So by default, your folder is going to be CG videos. You can always change this if you like, but we recommend leaving it here. And then we're going to want to give our project a very descriptive name. So I'm going to name it like the case number. So case number 2234-555, and then we'll click this more information drop down. From this more information drop down, you can always add a name of the requester, a case number, date of request, and redaction reasons, and I will do that real quick. For the name of the requester, we'll do John Doe. Case number, that's what we put up here, so we'll copy and paste that. Date of request, let's say that was today. And then for redaction reasons, we'll just add a few. Please note these redaction reasons will be added to every file added to this project, and it'll be on the project level. So we'll add to, and then we'll new project. So after creating a new project, it'll open up the add files window, and we're just going to find the video we want to redact, which will be this one right here. We'll click it and then click open. Once you click open, you'll notice your files adding in the project files panel, and the checking metadata at the very bottom. You'll see the progress bar. But before we begin working, if you haven't used CaseGuard in a while, or this is your first time using it for a while, after a while I recommend clicking Help at the very top, selecting About CaseGuard Studio, and just confirming you're on the newest version 9.3.1. And I also recommend going to Tools, Settings, Video, and just ensuring that the strongest graphics card you have available to you will be selected. This will usually be an NVIDIA card. And if you do not have one here, use that software only mode or the Intel card that may appear. Alright, so when we first add a video into CaseGuard, I always recommend doing a high level overview, just dragging this blue timeline through the video just to see what we might need to redact from this video. And for this video, we're going to redact everyone in the video, including the suspect, and we're going to leave the officers unredacted. So we're just going to drag through this video and just see what's happening. So we can see there's a lot of individuals inside this pizza shop. We can see the officers here escorting a suspect, maybe. Okay, we'll keep dragging through and just looking at what we might need to redact. This is our suspect right here. These are the officers. This is another individual we may need to redact. And we'll just keep looking through, seeing what might be the best tool to use for this video. So with all this movement and this many people, I recommend using the AI detection tool, and we're going to pair it with some other tools when needed. So we'll go ahead and drag this back. And before we get started, I do want to cover the workspace quickly. The top toolbar, you can access several different things, create a new project, open an old project, many different things. This left toolbar will be all your video tools and your audio tools. This toolbar will change based on what type of file you currently have added. Since this is a video with audio, that's the tools we have available to us. And then on this right will be our object detection panel, which will begin populating with faces and heads whenever we run that detection. Here's the translation panel. We are going to unpin this by clicking this X since we will not need it. And we'll unpin it one more time. Perfect. And then here's your project files panel. Here you can always see what videos you currently have added into CaseGuard. And we'll unpin this task list. Alright, and whenever we're ready, we're going to select AI video from the left toolbar. And for this video, we only need faces and heads, but we have a lot of different features if needed. And we'll go ahead and click next. And then in this window, you'll add your shape. We'll do ellipse since we're doing faces and heads. And here we'll do adaptive blur. Adaptive blur is a bit different than your normal blur. The adaptive blur is going to adjust based on the lighting in the video and the position of the individual that it is redacting. I always recommend using the adaptive blur. Down here at the bottom, we have several different types of redaction modes. Currently, we have standard selected, which will be your basic redaction mode. Reverse will do the opposite. It'll unredact the main thing that you draw it around, but it'll redact everything else. and then full frame is just going to redact the full frame of the screen. We'll go to standard, and then here you can adjust your margins if needed to make your redaction box a bit bigger, but we'll leave it at 10% from the default. Perfect. And now we'll click redaction reasons, and we'll select a few here. I do want to quickly cover these redaction reasons. These redaction reasons are going to be reasons for your redactions, or better known as an exemption log. Not all agencies require it, but I recommend applying them to your redactions just in case you ever are requested of them. And if you'd like to ever add your own or edit the ones we currently have added in the CaseGuard, you can hit this plus here and edit the redaction reasons here, and you can add your own by clicking Add New, or edit it by clicking this pencil icon. Perfect, and then we'll go ahead and click Next. And then here you can select the range that you would like to apply these AI redactions. If you click the selected range and then click the metric dropdown, you can switch it to time and enter that exact start and end time if you'd like. You can also use these previews to drag the slider to those times as well. But for this file, it's only a 3-minute file, so we'll do the whole file. Go ahead and select Next. Here you can decide if you'd like to apply audio redaction. This will apply to the whole range of the redaction you select. So if you do a selected range and maybe do it for a portion of the video, the audio mute will apply to that portion of the video. But let's say you do the whole file, it will apply that audio redaction to the whole file. Go ahead and select Next. And then here, I want to cover these advanced options. So the first option is going to be classify objects. Whenever you run the AI detection, it'll separate each face and head in the object detection panel for each different object or person. If you uncheck this box, it'll group them all into one. Next will be the body-worn cameras option. This was an option recently added to 9.3. So this is the option I recommend selecting if your video is body-worn cameras, and it's great for shaky videos. It'll greatly increase the detection that the AI has. Next will be 4K 8K 360 video option. I recommend selecting this if your video is one of these qualities or a drone or 360 video. Then next will be the minimum confidence level. Currently it's at 20%. I recommend leaving it here, but if you do notice that maybe your AI isn't picking up enough faces and heads, you can lower it, or if it's picking up too many, you can always raise it. So if it's a lower quality video or maybe at night, you can lower this maybe to 15%, see how the detection does on that. But if it's grabbing way too many things, you can always raise that confidence. And then the last option will be the save as template option. So if you commonly use these AI detection settings, you can always save it as a template, and we'll name it BWC for body worn camera, and then we'll go ahead and click Next. And then here will be a summary. If needed, you can always schedule your redaction for later, but we'll leave it at our current time and we'll click Apply. As you can see, the AI detection is now running, and we can see the object detection panel is beginning to occupy and fill with results. As you can see, all these objects were detected, but we can see this man was missed. So if anyone is ever missed, we can always fill that with manual redactions. And you can also play the video as well while the object detection is running. And you can see the progress bar with this yellow line right above the play bar. So we're going to go ahead and select object tracking while this AI is running. And we're going to draw a box over this individual's head since he was not redacted. And we're going to change the shape down here to ellipse. And we'll leave the effect on blur, and we'll add a reason as well. Alright, and then whenever we have that, I recommend using your right arrow key to go frame by frame just to make sure that the object detection or object tracking is correctly tracking this box. So we're going to use the right arrow key, and we got to click on the video. And then we'll go ahead and use that right arrow key and make sure it's grabbing it correctly. And we can see that blue box now around it. That means the AI did end up picking it up. It just did on this first frame. So if it did that, we can always delete this frame, delete that redaction, and then we can play the video and see how it did. And we can see it missed it here when these words came up to block the view of his head. So we'll use our left arrow key to go back to when it first dropped, and we'll draw an object tracking box around that. And then we'll play the video once again. And we can always change the speed down here. So we can change it to 0.5 just to make sure we catch everything that might be missed. We'll go ahead and play this. And we'll leave it on him since we can see it's flickering. I do want to mention with this new update with the automatic detection, whenever it finishes, The AI automatically applies the remove flickering effect just to fill any gaps that might be missed. So if a few frames are missed, it'll fill those frames with redactions. So we'll wait for this automatic detection to finish, and then we'll begin working just so we can see what might have been filled. Alright, it looks like that AI detection just finished running. We're going to drag this blue bar back to the very beginning of the video, just because some frames might have been filled by that remove flickering. And we have the speed at 0.5 like I mentioned before, and we'll begin playing that video and see how the AI did. And we can see this individual right here, it seems like it missed him in some frames. So we'll go back to the very first frame he was unredacted, and we'll left click and drag to draw an object tracking box around his head. Oh my goodness, just like so. Alright, perfect. And now we'll go ahead and play that video. And as you can see, now he's redacted. And we'll be on the lookout for any more objects that may drop. And that object tracking box is doing a great job keeping him tracked. And the AI did a great job on this individual now. And we'll keep watching the video looking for any frames that might have been missed. So far, so good. Okay, perfect. Looks like it might have missed this individual right here for a few frames, so we'll go back and find the first frame it dropped him, and we'll draw an object tracking box over him as well. And we'll let that play, and it did miss Lady in the blue, since they are a bit hard to make out even for the human eye, but we'll go to where it first dropped her, which is right here, and we'll draw that box on her as well, and we'll play the video. Alright, she's out of frame now, so we'll delete forward from that. And to delete forward, you're just going to right click on any object and select delete forward. That's going to delete it from all the future frames. It looks like this individual is picked up now, so we'll do the same here. Right click, delete forward. And let the video keep playing. And it's the back of her head, so we will not need to redact it. And let me mute the audio. And as you can see, since the view changed to the body worn camera, the object tracking came with it, so we'll just right click that and delete forward as well. I do want to quickly mention never to delete from all frames, just because that will delete it from every single frame and you will have to redo your redactions. If you want to ever delete from all frames, I recommend using the disable. And like I mentioned before, we do not need these officers redacted, so we'll go back to the very first frame that they appeared. I'm just using my left arrow key to quickly go back, and you can use the down arrow key to go back even farther. And now I'll use my right arrow key to go a few frames forward to find that first frame the officers appear, which it looks like it's about right here. Okay, here's that frame, so we'll delete this forward, we don't need it. And then we need this officer unredacted, so we will right click on him and select disable, and then same for this box, disable. And we'll begin playing the video again, and you can see that redaction that popped up there for a split second. We'll disable that as well, and we'll keep playing through the video. And we're just going to look for any time officers appear. This is not an officer, but it is kind of hard to tell if he is an officer. So we can select at the very top edit mode and go to edit mode view. And then here we can easily see who is under the redactions. And then we can keep playing and just keep looking for any officers that might appear. It's the back of their heads and we can't see who they are, so we'll leave that unredacted. And let's just make sure it did catch her on this first frame she appeared. And it did kind of not get her here, so we're going to draw that right here. And if you continue holding the box, it'll be like more of a manual feature instead of the object tracking, and it'll give you a ton of control over your redaction. And it seems like it got her, so we'll double click that to delete it quickly. And it looks like it picked up that officer again here. So let me go back to when it first picks him up. Okay, so it picks him up here. We'll right click it again and select disable. And we'll keep going frame by frame just to make sure. And I did miss her here, so we'll left click and drag again and make sure she's fully redacted. And I will right click here and disable this from the officer. And I'll use my right arrow key to go one frame forward. And that's where we drew that other one, so I can delete this one. We can play the video again. And it did pick up the officer once again, so I will disable it. And every time he's detected, we will continue to disable it. Okay, perfect. Alright, since anytime an object's looks changes in the video, the AI will repick it up. So if this officer's, the lighting on his face is a bit different, or it's a different angle of his face, the AI thinks it's a new person, so it will repick him up. And the AI also forgets every 30 frames. So that's why you will notice he will be detected even though we disabled him. But it's quick and easy to just right click and click disable, and then we will have him disabled. And anytime the redaction comes back, we'll redisable it. And we'll just continue watching through this video as it goes on. As you can see, the AI is doing a great job of keeping her redacted and this individual in the background. And I do have it at 0.5 speed, but since we're no longer tracking, we'll turn it up to 0.1 and watch it in real time. And we need to keep an eye out to make sure no frames drop and the officer stays redacted. Okay, a new individual came into frame, but she's still redacted, and he in the background is as well. Officer is still unredacted, which is great, and we'll just keep watching it. And it is even getting the individuals in the background. Okay, perfect. Everyone is staying redacted, no worries here. And we'll continue watching through this footage, and anytime we see anyone that is not redacted that needs to be, we'll get that fixed. Okay, and we have a lot of officers that just appeared on screen, and we will need to unredact them. So we will go back to the first time they appeared on screen. Okay. Okay, here's that first frame. And I do want to mention, right below your video, this little panel right here will show what heads are currently in frame. So for example, head 325 is going to be this officer's head right here. If you select it in the video, a blue bar will appear under it and we can easily find it. There is another way to disable officers or any individual you need to. So in the object detection panel, if you click search, and we're going to type in 325 since that's the head number, his head will appear here, and we can quickly disable it by clicking this eyeball. And if we want to see where it all appears in the video, we can click this circle with a dot icon to go to the position of it. If you want to see all the frames it appeared in, if we click this view all icon, we can see every frame that this officer's head appeared in and make sure that it looks good. If we want to delete specific frames, we can always hit this X to remove. And then the last one will be these three dots. This will allow you to edit the redaction or add any effects if needed. But let's say we want to see all the frames or objects that we disabled. We'll delete this 325. We'll click the search bar one more time. Status is equal to disabled. And we'll be able to see every head we disabled throughout the video. And we can quickly go to it by clicking the go to position icon. Okay, perfect. And we'll keep going through this video disabling who we need and making sure everyone's redacted. So that officer does not need to be redacted and this one does not either. And we can see a portion of this woman's face here. So we will draw a quick box around it. And then we'll use our arrow keys to go frame by frame until the AI picks her up, which it did. So we'll double click to delete this, left click, double click to delete this box. And then we'll begin playing the video again. As we can see, it picked up this officer once again, so we'll click disable and we'll keep playing the video. And it's doing a great job still picking up all these individuals. And the officers are still unredacted. I did see it drop here for a second, so we'll go to the very first frame it did drop, which was right here, and we'll draw that box. And we'll go frame by frame until the AI picks them back up, and we'll double click to delete it. Alright, and then we'll begin playing the video again. The officer's detected once again. We'll select disable, and it will disable him in the back frames as well. So if I go back a frame, he's still disabled. The disable is going to basically delete it, but you're going to be able to re-enable it if you need to. So for example, let's say I want to re-enable this officer's head. Like before, click the search bar, status is equal to disabled, and we'll just have to find it in this object detection panel. So I believe it would be 375, and we can re-enable it quickly by clicking the eyeball with the slash through it. But I will go ahead and re-disable it since it needs to be disabled. Alright, and we'll click the X, and we'll begin playing again and looking for anything we may need to redact. Alright, and a lot of officers just came on frame, and we will need to disable them all. So let us go back a few frames here and find the very first frame where this officer that came into frame Okay, all the officers come into frame here, so we'll right click and disable all the ones we need to. Disable. And let's go a few frames forward using that right arrow key, just so we can easily catch all these officers. Right click disable, right click disable, and right click disable. And we'll use that right arrow key again. And it did pick them up again for a second, so we'll disable it once again. And we'll keep going forward here. Okay, and it looks good. We'll play it again. And another officer just came into frame. We'll disable that. Let's continue playing the video. And then a confrontation begins here. So we'll leave this redaction box since it's kind of covering her head. And then there you saw these officers were redacted again. So we'll go back using our left arrow key and we'll disable them. And then we'll play the video. And we'll wait for, okay. And here's a zoomed in shot. We can see everything's still redacted, and we'll disable the officers once again. Right click disable, right click disable, and then we'll play the video once again. Yep, perfect. And you can see this lady right here is still redacted, and we'll keep playing the video. Okay, perfect. And it did pick up this officer, so we'll disable him, and we'll play the video once again. And I cannot tell if it's an officer or an individual suspect, so I will leave it redacted just in case. And I'll keep playing the video. And here we can tell that this is an officer, so we'll disable it. And then I'll leave everyone else redacted because, again, I cannot tell who is who. And I'll play the video. This is an officer here, it looks like, so I'll disable it. And I'll play the video. And then this officer was picked up, we'll disable it. And we'll keep playing the video. And there's a lot of officers here, so we'll quickly disable them all. Yep, perfect. And let's go back a frame just to make sure that they are disabled even in the back frames. And it looks like they are, except this one. And now we'll play it. And they did come back in frame, so let's quickly redisable them. With all this movement, the heads might keep appearing, but it is quick and easy to disable them, so we will do that quickly. And let's go a few frames forward using that right arrow key just to ensure that it did not pick them back up, and we'll disable them once again. Okay, disable, disable, okay, and we will keep playing. Here we'll disable him as well, and now it looks good for now. This officer is detected, and this one as well, so we'll disable it, and we'll keep playing the video. And we see the backs of their heads being picked up since it looks a bit different than they were before. So we will disable everything real quick. And I do want to mention, if you do need to do all these in bulk, you can always select it from the object detection panel. So we could scroll to near the very bottom and find the category of head 675. And we can always select them multiple at once if needed and do them that way. But I prefer and I recommend doing it from the video just to ensure that you have the correct individual that you are disabling. And if you ever do make a mistake and disable someone that you did not mean to, you can always re-enable it in the object detection panel. Okay, and we'll go a few frames forward and see if it picked them up, which it did. Yep, perfect. Okay, things are looking good. Did grab them here, so we'll disable it quickly. And these lower lighting videos, and this video is poor quality, you will notice that they are picked up a bit more than usual. Even after disabling them, just because the lighting changes and the way they look to the AI changes. Okay, disable, disable, and we'll play it. And it picks them up for a few frames, but we can leave those. It will not be noticeable in export. Disable, disable. Yep, perfect. And we'll keep playing. Quickly disable them as we go. And we'll keep playing the video. And that is a suspect, so we will leave them redacted. Then here's another officer. Alright. And then we'll disable them as we go. Perfect. Disable, disable, and disable. Okay, perfect. Okay, and then we'll quickly disable all these once again. Alright, and then we'll play the video. Perfect. Okay, and we'll find a section where there's a lot of them so we can just quickly disable them all at once, like so. Okay, perfect. And as we can see, it did get the suspect and some of the officers again. There's a lot of movement in this video, so it will pick them up quite a bit. And we'll keep going through and just... And then she's not visible here, so we will leave her unredacted. And we'll disable here. And we'll play the video. Did pick up this officer, we'll re-disable it. Disable. Disable. And if there's sections with just the officer, we can always use that selected range just so that we do not have to keep disabling. And we'll let the video keep playing till the end. And it does have these officers once again, so we will disable them quickly. We'll play the video once again. Okay, disable. And use the spacebar as you need to pause it and disable quickly. Okay, perfect. And let's quickly disable all of these. Disable. Perfect. Okay, and we'll leave that one since it's the back of his head. Alright, and then we'll disable here. Oops, and then disable. Okay. Alright, and then more officers are coming into frame, and it is a new frame, so they will get redetected, as mentioned before. Okay, and that'll be the end of that video. So once you finish the video, you click export on the right side of your screen. You can change the name of this file if you'd like, and by default it will have _redacted at the end and keep the original name. If it's a large file, you can always schedule it for when you leave the office, maybe at 5 p.m. And then we do have additional export options. So if you need to continue multitasking while this is exporting, I recommend selecting the normal export time. But if you want it to export extremely fast, select the fastest export time. And then the export mode, if you have someone that needs to review your file, you can do the export marked copy or the redacted copy for if you're going to send it off. And then whenever we're ready, we'll click export. And then as you can see in the project files panel, it will begin exporting, and you can see the progress at the bottom. And while this is exporting, I will go ahead and pause it, and I will return when it's finished so we can take a look at the finished product. And while this file is exporting, I quickly want to show the print reports where these reasons that we applied are going to appear. So at the top of your workspace, if you click the print report icon, the first thing that's going to appear is going to be the standard report. This is where that file name is going to be, that case number, name of requester, and when it was requested will be at the very top. The task performed will be at the very bottom right here, and since we only did redact video and image, that'll appear, and any changes made to this file will be logged here as well. And if you want to remove any of these, if you need to send it off, you can always check these top icons right here to remove the metadata and to remove the file log if needed, and we'll keep them there. And let's say we want to export and send this off to a reviewer or to the courts. We'll click this export drop down and select whatever file type we need. And if we click this left top and then exemption log, this is where all those reasons we applied or exemptions will appear, if we need to send it off the same way here. And then if you'd like to group them, if you click this stack of papers, it'll group the time points. And then if you uncheck it, it'll group them separately per redaction. And then the privilege log will be the one we applied in the very beginning of the video. This will be the one that applies to each file. And as you can see, we have 2 files currently in our project files panel, and we have 2 exemptions here. Alright, perfect. And then we'll close this since our video finished, and let's watch it. Alright, and it looks like I did miss him for a second there. I apologize about that. And let's say you did miss him, like I did. We can go back to this original video and find where we missed him at. So it looks like we missed him for exactly 1 frame. Let's see where we can find it. See, we did miss him here because of the words, so we missed him here. So we can always go back and redraw that object tracking easily and go frame by frame and just make sure that we get him this time. Okay, perfect. We'll delete that object tracking, and let's say we fix that mistake. We can always export it again the same way as we did before, but for now we'll continue watching this other video. Okay, and let's get past that part, and we'll play it and watch it and make sure we got everything. Alright, perfect. Alright, and let's just quickly skip through it and make sure we got everything. And I will mute the audio, I apologize about that. And as you can see, everyone is redacted. Even the people in the background and the officers are unredacted. And here, these people are redacted. Her head does come into view, but you can't identify her, so we left it unredacted. And even the individuals in the background are redacted. Alright, everyone's redacted and the officers are unredacted. And that about does it for this video. I appreciate everyone watching it, and happy redacting.